AI deepfakes are a growing concern for individuals, of course, politicians and institutions. Our next guest is betting on a non-AI solution. Scott Stornetta is the CEO and founder of SureMark Digital, which applies blockchain principles to identity and aims to protect its users from AI fraud. Scott's also credited as the co-founder of the blockchain. So we've got an OG on the program this morning. Scott, it's great to see you. Help us understand what your business does and help us understand how we actually are going to protect ourselves, because all too often I'm watching all sorts of things. I've been watching this hilarious woman on Instagram, and then I find out that she's not a real person, that she's an AI. Scott.
The girl who said fat people go to Crate and Barrel, huh?
Net, it's going to be a great thing. But it does have some rough around the edges problems, including the classic grandma scam where who you think is the grandson is calling from jail and needs $500 wired. The point is, seeing is no longer believing, and hearing is no longer believing. And so there's a way now, and this is what the SureMark credential does, so that your circle, your closest circle, those you trust, your family members, your banker, your accountant, your attorney, when you get a call from them and it sounds like them and it says it's their phone number, you can't assume that it's them anymore. But there's a simple solution that's founded on long-established principles that lets you quickly push a button to challenge, is this really you? And for them to respond by pushing a button, yes, it is.
So that's a technological solution, Scott. I've been told, and actually I haven't really done it with my family, I should, that you're supposed to create like a password, that everybody should have a password, some kind of unique phrase or something that somebody else would not know, and you're supposed to say, my wife, so I know it's really my wife, which is crazy.
Right. This is the FBI's recommendation, and it's a good start. A shared password, bazooka, something like that. Right. But what you want is something that essentially incorporates that principle, but in a much more secure and scalable way. And that's what the SureMark credential does.
And so initially, SureMark, I imagine the client is it's an enterprise product, or is it really more of a consumer product?
Well, it appeals to public officials, it appeals to the enterprise, and it also appeals to the individual for grandma scams. It's just a different level of protection and breadth of coverage.
And what's the price point?
What we see are VC firms, family offices, multifamily offices, high-end money managers. They want to know who really is on the other end of that call or who their counterparty is in a conversation.
What happens when more and more money transfers and things take place electronically where it's not on the phone? So, I think I got a notice from a bank recently saying that it used to be that if you were going to make a wire transfer, they would have to call you to confirm. And then they were more recently saying, do you want to do it just over apps in the future? So if we directionally go in that way, what happens to the grandma scam telephone call?
Well, the grandma scam is still going to be prevalent because what you're talking about are, controlled ACH transfers through portals. The concern is the setup to the con. Okay, hi, this is your banker. I'm going to be sending you the information by which you can do the wire. And so when that gets faked, you end up going to the wrong secure portal. And kiss your money goodbye.
Since you are, as we described at the beginning, an OG of the blockchain, I'm curious if the blockchain has done what you thought it was going to do in the beginning, or now that you've seen what's happening with all the crypto stuff that we talk about every day, has it gotten out of control? What's your take a decade later, more than a decade later?
Yeah, unfortunately, more than a decade later. Technology can be used for good and ill. And all that Dr. Haber and I did in laying the foundations in the blockchain was to ensure the integrity of the record. And that doesn't mean that we're responsible for every speculative cryptocurrency, but it does mean that we laid a secure foundation for things like stable coins, which I think are going to be a major step forward. And it means that there's a record integrity and transparency option available. Now,
right.
Whether people implement the blockchain properly and take advantage of that or use the cryptocurrency hype to scam someone, that's out of our control. But it's very humbling to feel that something you did 20 plus years ago is now becoming part of the financial infrastructure foundation layer.
Tell me you bought a lot of Bitcoin.
I hate to disappoint, but I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. And I guess the way we say it is, Dr. Haber and I, we love all of our children, whether it's Bitcoin or Ethereum or stable coins or whatnot.
You own zero?
I don't comment on the positions that I personally hold.
Anything less than owning 1,000 of them is disappointing. God, I feel bad, but that's okay.
Well, I'm afraid I'm going to be a disappointer then.
Scott, I want to thank you. It's a fascinating product, and more we're going to need it. So thank you for coming on this morning, and we hope to talk to you again soon.